gonna be a nigga purge. Niggas gotta go. Knuckle draggers got to go in the revolution. That's what it's built for. Niggas gotta go. Knuckle draggers got to go. In the revolution. That's what it's built for.
All right, y'all. Peace, love, and light.
Niggas gotta go. Knuckle draggers got to go. In the revolution. That's what it's built for.
All right, y'all. Peace, love, and light. Family. Let me get all of these images right. Turn this volume down. All right, y'all. Peace, love, and light. All right, welcome. We have a special broadcast here on Know the Ledge Media, Know the Ledge TV. Today is September 10th, 2019. A day away from 9/11. You know what I mean? Give me 1 second. And conspicuously enough, and I was reminded this past weekend, I was listening to a Bobby Hemmett tape. Hold on. I was listening to a Bobby Hemmett tape, and it was reminding me about, the significance of 9/11, the significance on consciousness, the significance on, people converting and what they call today waking up. And as much as I speak about my 10-year anniversary, embarking on this year, well, Know the Ledge Media as an entity was started January 9th, 2010. But, me and Red getting together and setting our sights on collectively doing media together, that all started in Harlem in 2009, when I came back uptown, you know what I mean? So the initial eureka moment, that initial awakening moment, that was 2001. That was 9/11. You know what I mean? I had just started working at Four Corners newspaper about a few days prior to that. Maybe like the day, like September 9th. September 10th is when I had a court case in Jersey, and Red had just came home from SHOC, which is military boot camp. Instead of sending you to jail, they send you up north and they send you to military boot camp. So when I was telling him about what I was doing with the Moorish science in terms of defending myself in court and everything, standing on my square, putting paperwork in, challenging the system and the judge for jurisdiction, he said I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? He was laughing at me. He thought I was out of my mind. And he had the opportunity to venture with me to this particular case. And this particular case that I went to on September 10th, 2001, it was brutal. Like, I had did a move that was taught to me that kind of decapitated the entire courtroom, it decapitated the judge. I rendered that entire operation null and void by doing a procedure, you know what I mean? And it kind of threw the court off. So the judge responded by having the bailiffs, the COs jump on me. You know what I mean? And it was out of line, of course, but they wanted to stop me from being vocal in the courtroom and pretty much spilling all of the beans. And, I was making them look bad, right? So they jumped on me, only to get me in the back to find out that I don't just come with paperwork to the court, you know what I'm saying? I had my juju with me too.
Yeah.
So when they emptied out my pockets because they wanted to put me in the holding bins, I had my chicken foot.
Chicken foot.
I had a chicken foot wrapped up in red satin, and they put the shit through the X-ray, and they saw that it was a chicken foot. White coat came back there and said, "Get this motherfucker."
That's a fact.
They get this nigga up out of here and take your fucking chicken foot with you. He's like, nobody touched that. You take that shit and get the hell up out of here. And when I left the court, the judge was heaved over on his side, and they were standing there on top of him, patting his back. He was like deep face in the red because he just got bodied. You know what I mean? And you know, I didn't only toxify the court that day. I'm always led to believe that I toxified the system because my paperwork just went live, you know, after that procedure. Because I was now, and this is for the people that understand paperwork. I'm not going to go through the entire process of explaining to you what happened if you don't understand it. But for those who do understand paperwork, now I'm on record as a flesh and blood human being as opposed to a corporation. And all of the things that was being said in my paperwork, I'm like, I'm God. Like, how can you prosecute me? You know, the next day the towers came down and the Moors was like, you know what that was about? I ain't gonna repeat it on this motherfucking live, but you know, they had to destroy paperwork, sensitive materials, because mad birth certificates got destroyed in the World Trade Center, if you don't know. And majority of people have no clue because as a community, we really don't pay homage to where a lot of people got their start. You know what I'm saying? The master teachers, the elders, already doing this. And like I said, it took me to see some Bobby Hemmett this past weekend to really remember, you know, what catapulted consciousness into hyperdimensional territory where now the fumes, the residue, the steam of it is called the woke community and all of this other shit. You know, the Matrix was a impetus, you know what I'm saying? And the Y2K and shit, you know, some of these things kind of like was, if you push it on a giant to wake up, God damn it, but 9/11, that was the clarion call. A lot of people woke up.
That's a
a lot of people went to sleep. You feel me? A lot of people woke up and a lot of people went to sleep. Niggas became patriotic. You feel me? That's a whole nother story. That's neither here.
Shout out to Wu-Tang.
Right? And the blueprint came out. So if you understand what I'm speaking on, the Law 44, if anybody saw my Patreon, you know, the 9/11, 2001, that was the beginning of the age of 44. That was the start. That was when the resonant frequency was heard throughout the universe that has now terraformed itself and matriculated into so many different occurrences where you see this number everywhere. Why? Because the World Trade Center opened April 4th, 1973. So the World Trade Center, which were two tuna forks, were 44 resonators. And tuna forks are set to the resonance of 440 hertz. You understand? So you have these two massive life-size tuna forks made of smaller tuna forks. You know what I'm saying? And then the shit gets hit. It creates a sound, a frequency, a resonance that was heard throughout the galaxy. You understand what I'm saying? It was heard throughout the galaxy. And we are still feeling the repercussions and the ramifications of that. We live in a post 9/11 world. This is not opinion. These are facts. We live in a 9/11 world. The world has been terraformed from that incident. Everything that we see taking place is a result of the reverberance of, you know, of that particular incident.
That's a fact.
All the way where Bobby was on, you know, on the live on his in his lecture was December 21st, 2001. It was the black hole lecture. You know, shout out to Phil Valentine who did the nominal lecture. The I'm trying to find the word. You know, he did the what's the word for it that I'm looking for? It was magnanimous in its nature.
Yeah, his
Valentine
dissertation.
with his dissertation on 9/11. You know, I think that might have even been what converted Red after the fact. You know, when he seen that man element.
I think both of those demonstrations catapulted both of those master teachers to the I won't say the head of the pack, but because this was a DVD based community, and you know everybody, you know, DVD, we had our favorites. Everybody had their favorites, and everybody, you know, they had their favorite teachers and whoever's doctrine they were following and whatnot. But when Dr. Phil Valentine and Bobby Hemmett did that demonstration, when they were able to decode and decipher and unpack the events of 9/11 and basically forecast what it is that is coming down the pipeline,
Yes.
that put them in another realm.
And back then, specifically Bobby Hemmett, Valentine mentioned it as well. They said, yo, this has nothing to do with Arabs. This is all about you. This is about you. And they said what? They said they're going to use the Moors to gain entry into what was considered at the time Black nationalism or things of that nature, because the Moors had 2 feet in both worlds, in the Arab world by way of Islam, and Black nationalism by way of nationality and, you know, those particular things. He reminded me of which I already knew. They had to get rid of Farrakhan at the time. They had to get rid of El Amin, right? A-Trap Brown. And they had to get rid of Khalid. Khalid died in August, around the time of Aaliyah. So all of this is reminding me.
And Malachi Z. York.
And no, Malachi was later on in 03. From what I remember.
When I was in Atlanta, Sheriff Sims was already moving in. They were already passing out flyers. He was already getting that heat from the sheriff in the town. So they were already out there, you know, making moves to kind of eradicate that movement.
Right. So, you know, it's like, you know, and we're in a different day and age, and these particular networks have finally caught up and responded where people can't openly. I think they scrubbed the internet of all of the 9/11 stuff. That was the first quote unquote conspiracy theory, you know, outside of Pizzagate. That was their impetus. Fake moon landing, what they call truthers, right?
Remember Zeitgeist?
Hmm?
Remember Loose Change?
I remember
Loose Change and Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist. You know what I'm saying? Epic Productions, sans the conspiracy theories, dealing with they had a lot of Christian propaganda in there based on symbolisms. So these platforms are what nationalized the conversation about the hip hop conspiracies, you know, the Luciferian conspiracy. Now I don't know if they were so far off, but at the time, you know, they were saying, oh, if you got an ankh on, he's a devil worshiper. You know what I'm saying? The Eye of Horus is, you know, is Satanism and that. And then that brought about our response where we did a lecture called Blueprint 322, which took place November 29th, 2009, featured me, my brother, A.A. Rashid, and Black Dot. This is the very first
Noble
time.
and Pooh.
Yeah, and Pooh was there. This is the very first time in public that I had spoke on what at that time wasn't even the Law 44 yet. It was something else. I was just developing it. But that was the lecture that pushed me in my research to actually see that there was a recurring pattern, because I was reading a book about number patterns called Time in the Technosphere by Jose Arguelles. This spoke about the Mayan calendar. Yeah, man, he rest in peace. Shout out to Wanique Shabazz, you know, who was a student of Jose Arguelles and took the information a little bit further, dealing with the Olmec calendar. He said it's not a Mayan calendar, it's an Olmec calendar. And I got an opportunity to do a program with that brother the other night in promotion of an upcoming event we have this Saturday in Atlanta called the what is it called? The I don't know why I'm getting a Natural Mystic Fair, you know, dealing with the healers and the different modalities. And it was on that program where he was playing excerpts from people reporting from the Bahamas that my heart really fell to my stomach. And I was in tears, you know, when I heard their accounts of the bodies and the stench and the utter destruction. You know what I mean?
Bro.
The fact that I had been Googling information for the last 48, 72 hours leading up to that, and I hadn't been able to find a lot of information on the internet.
That is a super fact. That shit popped up out of nowhere.
It popped up out of nowhere.
Word.
Shout out to my dude, Pharaoh Said That, the elder on IG. He had a lot of footage. Or he had enough footage. He had a shorty, you know, her video alone, you know, it was so stirring. Like she was giving it all the way up about what's taking place. And what I didn't see in the media until today, until she spoke on it, is that the area, I think it might have been Abaco Island, but the area that was hit hardest and most devastated had a large contingency of Haitians in it.
Yeah, Abaco.
It was
That's where they were resettling there.
They were resettling from the earthquake.
Yes.
Right? So they called that the poorest of the poor. You know what I mean? So there's like no relief effort whatsoever concerning those people. There's no effort being made. But she did say that they seen the people with the white suits, with the white hats, going around, filling up flatbeds with dead bodies.
Collecting bodies. The same thing in Haiti. The same thing from Haiti.
Same thing in Haiti. And then they said that they was ferrying people off the island, but they was only taking women and children.
That's
same thing as Haiti.
Hey, same thing in Haiti. And remember, Blue, when you go into Know the Ledge radio archives, our first 6 to 7 episodes are dealing with the Haitian earthquake.
Disaster.
And same sentiments that we were heartbroken. Somebody broke down on air and was crying. I think I was crying because it was either
Edwards and King Simon.
Yeah, salute to Aton.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And my heart just sank when we began to see the images that were coming out of Haiti, dealing with all of the little babies that were dying and all of the people who were the victims of that earthquake. And then when we went further, we began to find out about all of the nefarious things that the NGOs, non-governmental aid organizations, who later on are being exposed in the Jeff Epstein scandal, the Hillary Clinton Foundation scandal, as being the liaisons or the culprits behind multiple organ harvesting rings, sex trafficking rings, child trafficking rings, and all kind of other things outside of drugs. Drugs are hot, body parts are not. So the drug game is kind of hot. So now they're just trading bodies. And there's something that's called the disaster industry complex. When I saw a video of President Bush and all of his cronies sitting in a round table around the time when Dorian was about to strike, and they were discussing all of their tactics. These were military. This was all military. I think Bolton was there. We're gonna talk about him in a minute.
You said Trump or Bush?
No, I'm talking about this just now with Dorian.
Okay, so Trump was sitting around.
Trump was in a round table with military chiefs and whatnot. I think Bolton was in the room as well, and they were discussing all of the strategy. They were with governors as well of Florida, you know, the states that were going to be evacuated and things of that nature. But it was almost like, you know, when they have these war councils. So automatically it clicked to me, oh, okay, here we go again. They're going to go ahead and they're going to implement FEMA, and they're going to implement all of these NGOs to do what they've been doing. And that's basically to take advantage of whatever islands or whatever property is becoming devastated. So that's the same thing that I saw when I saw in Haiti. You saw the round table with Bush and them and their military and their FEMA people and all of these other people who are basically, and then you saw the same thing with Katrina. So the disaster industry is not just a bunch of white people sitting around, talking about how they're going to help people, because when you do the research on who got helped in the Bahamas, the hurricane hit on the 1st. They didn't start helping them to the 5th. Okay. I'm reading all of the news reports, and they're doing measly things like Red Cross donated $500,000 the first round. Bro, they spent $500,000 in the Bahamas on the weekend at the bar. $500,000 to the Bahamas with billions of dollars in tourism money is exchanged on a yearly basis. That is an insult. So they're not sitting around talking about who to rescue, because the video that I put on my IGTV of the flooding in the Grand Bahamas, like if they would have put that on mainstream TV, bro, do you know how many lives could have been saved? It breaks my heart that I got the video late. I put the video up last night and a sister hit me. She was like, yeah, that was on Friday. Man, people drowned. The waters are receding now. There were sharks in the water and all kind of other stuff. I'm like, damn. I mean, who do we talk to? How is it that the media missed that? I mean, who's held accountable? How is it that Fox News, how is it that CNN that runs 24-hour news stories about Beyonce's bra size and Rihanna's lipstick and, Popeyes, how many, they telling us how many, they coming out with these detailed reports about how many Popeyes sandwiches were sold. They could give you that, but they couldn't give you a drone over the Bahamas.
When I open up Google every morning, right? And I don't go on ratchet sites and shit like that. Like, I don't belong to none of those communities, and I don't even have a Twitter account. But Google,
I see the same thing.
Google refers in the news items underneath when my Google pages, there's mad recommended and suggested stories and narratives like this is the leading news for the day. All this shit is entertainment. They talking about what Cardi B tweeted last night. You feel me? They telling me about Kevin Hart, right? Man, Kevin Hart make it.
Figs FWA's album is out. Yeah, they telling me about new videos from Future.
Going back and forth with motherfucking Nori. I'm like, yo, like, what is this?
They snitching on Nicki Minaj's boyfriend.
Yeah, Mr. they talking about Nicki Minaj pull a biscuit out on IG. Is this nigga on? We know that Mika's on probation. Is this like they trying to get his probation? Like, I'm like, yo, who's writing these? Who's okay? This is Google's homepage.
This is world news.
This is world news. Like, this is what you feed in the masses when real shit is going on. They ain't tell me the Congo was on fire. They didn't tell me what the hell was going on in Angola. They don't even I didn't even know what was going on in South Africa until recently. You feel me?
Yeah.
Telling me if the Amazon is still burning. They're not telling me how many hectares and acres is fucking burnt up. They, Bolivia is burnt. Telling me, they do tell me about Bitcoin. I give them that. They beat the drums about a recession, but I'm just like, yo, this shit is news. This shit is entertainment. Wall to wall, like, where's the real shit? So, yeah, I had to dig for the Bahamas information. You know what I mean? And everything that I came across was a sad story. You know what I mean? Again, shout out to my dude, Chris Cole. It's a brother on IG that me and 19 Keys do business with. He's a day trader. Has done very good for himself in the world. And his brother, took his private jet and has been flying back and forth to the Bahamas. You know what I mean? Dropping off. Yeah, he got to Abaco Islands. I don't know what kind of clearance he got. That's a whole nother discussion. But the brother has been able to bring relief to the island. And he did say that they're going to be relaunching something very soon, you know, in terms of a collection. And you know, I also heard about KB posted something that the brothers down here in the South, the Low Lives and them is doing. You know, they're doing a collection. I was planning on heading back to New York, and you know, I wanted to see when I got there if there was anything going on in Flatbush, in the neighborhood that we come from, you know, which has a very strong Caribbean population. You know what I mean? But these niggas was dancing on the Parkway, like
I'm about to say,
to garner the support of 3 million people who are prideful of their countries. These niggas was jumping up, waving with their motherfucking flags on the Parkway. Back, if you just took 20% of the fucking nutcracker proceeds and sent that to the Caribbean, niggas would be okay. And you know how I know them niggas is full of shit? Because they did it last year and the year before when the fucking Caribbean was underwater. These niggas
right.
out there partying. All right, give me 1 second. Go ahead, I'm listening.
It was raining on the Parkway, right? To remind any nigga out there that there's a hurricane currently destroying the Bahamas, right? Because the Parkway was on Monday, Labor Day. Hurricane Dorian hit the Bahamas on Sunday. So all of those people that were on the park, I'm talking about millions of people. I don't know if millions showed up this year because, like I said, there was rainfall. But like Blue said, if they were collecting 50 cents to $1 from every single one of those people out there shaking it up, twerking it up on the police. You got all of these women dancing on the police. You know what I mean? And nobody said anything about the Bahamas from what I heard. And from what I'm asking questions, they're like, nah, they wasn't raising any kind of money. They wasn't raising any kind of awareness. Nobody wasn't collectively sending out prayers and stuff. They was out there shaking their asses with feathers on it. So what's going on with the priorities of these people, man? Like, this shit is, I mean, what's going on, B? And then, like Blue said, you have a brother who's a day trader who finds it, and his, you know, he's out there flying jets to the Bahamas back and forth. But at what point does the community, I mean, I'm not even gonna get into it because, you know, I can't necessarily tell anybody what to do with their resources. And I can't necessarily tell anybody how important it is to be, you know, if you know, to be in a philanthropical spirit when it comes to our people and helping them out in their suffrage. But what I do know and what I did witness and what I bear witness to on multiple occasions is when Notre Dame was burning, people who don't have no business even talking about Notre Dame or showing any kind of sympathy for Notre Dame, they was out there capping. When other places were going through their turmoils, pray for Ireland, you know, pray for Nova Scotia, pray for Scotland, you know, all of these,
Pray for Israel.
Pray for Israel? Like, you know,
I mean,
niggas.
You let something happen and these niggas is praying for it. As long as it ain't African, as long as it's not melanin.
No, I'm saying they go beyond praying.
We have to make a very concise observation, right? That the places where it's the highest concentration of melanin on the planet right now, they're going through strife, stress, and turmoil. Angola, the Congo, okay? We're talking about Bahamas. All them images you see, heavy melanated people, they may be deeply entrenched in the church, right? The Bahamas is super religious. You feel me?
Super duper.
Super duper, but we're not here to castigate anybody for their belief systems, right? Especially during a time when there's such this prideful resurgence in blackness and the celebration of 400 years. The day that I heard about Brazil was August 20th, 2019, when we're celebrating 400 years of alleged, captivity in this country directly related to the Portuguese, because the Portuguese brought the first slave over to Jamestown, according to these records. The Portuguese were the ones that was scooping Africans off of the west coast of Africa and taking them to the Americas, and the majority of them were deposited in Brazil.
That's right.
You understand? We talking about the masters that these niggas are smoking.
So that 1619 thing applies to the population in Brazil.
In the diaspora, like I said, if blackness envelopes the universe, right? If carbon is something that is the energizing collective force, right, that envelopes the universe, and as above, so below, if we are tapping into, right, because niggas is on a dance, on a Afrobeat wave and shit like that.
Holy water.
Right? What about the people? What about the strength in the politics? Because at the same time, you're telling me that Africa is the home of the most biodiverse people on the planet, which means that all you niggas ain't the same, right? Jenna tried telling you that shit. Okay. So if it's the most biodiverse place, it's not a monolith, right? Everybody ain't the same and they don't do the same shit, right? And the thing that makes you niggas here so unique in America is that you're the only Africans who mate with one another. They don't do that shit in Africa, right? They made according to tribe. They made according to tradition and custom, right? And there's a reason and a purpose behind that shit. Like this nigga's trying to get 30 extra cows, something like that.
Shit like that.
Shit like that. So this is
he jugging for cattle, bait.
Right, jugging for cattle. So this is the very unique thing that takes place here in these Americas. That's why these Negroes are so special. All these tribes have intermixed and interrelated, and then you got some fucking Euro in you. Okay, but there's no glue. Where's the binding factor where the people who's supposed to be at the top of the melanin food chain have no interest in what the fuck goes on anywhere else? And they're so segregated that Chicago niggas don't care what's going on with Louisiana niggas. Mississippi niggas could give two shits what's going on with LA niggas, right? In New York, a Brooklyn nigga don't give a fuck what's going on with a nigga in the Bronx.
At all. The Bronx could be underwater. Niggas from Brooklyn be like, I'm so Brooklyn.
I'm so Brooklyn. You just got the Bronx taken. I'm so Brooklyn, right?
So Brooklyn.
Would put on that white hat with Don Corp.
Got their life taken.
And come and take your block, nigga. And find it's still fiends out here.
Niggas that come with some work to serve them fiends.
Come with work. You feel me? And turn whoever survived into a fiend.
That's a fact.
That's Brooklyn. So where's this unity the niggas is talking about? Niggas is unified around televisions watching the NFL. And that's just what it is. Like
they unified around NBA 2K.
Niggas is unified around NBA 2K and the NFL. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there either. I was reminded why we started doing this, and I'm committed to it. And it started around 9/11, going against the narrative, right? We would not, them niggas waving American flags. You feel me? We were fucking, we were towing the line saying this is some bullshit, and this is a continuation of the Crusades, right? And ultimately, the ones that they want in the motherfucking dragnet is these Moors first and foremost, and these NBCs. And here we go, almost 20 years later, and look at what the fuck is going on, right?
To the point that, hold on. to the point that on 888, the Lionsgate portal, the FBI, well, they leaked, the Young Turks leaked the memo. They redesignated the BIE, which was too much of an ambiguous term. Then they redesignated domestic home terrorists that said that they were radicalized by Islam. Okay? So that right there is what Bobby Hemmett was putting on record 20 years ago come to pass. They made a clear designation to who it is that they talking about.
December 21st, 2001, go and research his lecture. It was the lecture on the black hole. He laid the entire connection out, and he prophesied all of this, spoke on it elaborately. He didn't leave nothing overturned. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right. If niggas is not Patriot flag waving, then they got Patriot NFL jerseys, right? And they motherfucking be sitting up there eating buffalo wings, cheering for Tom Brady. There's no difference.
And Antonio Brown.
At the end of the day. And yeah, and AB. So AB. Yeah, I want you to get into this documentation that you have been able to amass.
Okay. Well, for the family that's out there, what I want to say is, first and foremost, I want to give a humongous thank you to my good brother Muhammad, my good sister Estella. After my program last night, Melanin Monday, I was touching on the incident in the Bahamas, and I was questioning the role of heart. And immediately after the show, I was inundated by some WhatsApp videos, one of them being a video that's going viral right now, where the sister is in the car and she's speaking about the devastation in the Baco Islands. The other one, huh?
I seen that.
Yeah, can you share the screen and show it? You have that ability?
Can I, where I'm gonna pull that up? On my IG?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see.
Real quick. I'll talk while you do it. So she has one video. That was the video. But the first video that I was sent, that I saw, that had me really sit up and say, oh shit, was a video in the Grand Bahamas where they have 3 or 4 brothers inside of a boat. And the water is up to the attic in all of the houses.
I seen that too.
Yeah, I'm talking about the whole, it was an ocean. The neighborhood turned into an ocean. It was out of I haven't even seen movies capture a dystopian type of environment like that video. Like, that was real life. It blew me away. They rescued a family that were basically trapped in an attic. I mean,
they started plucking out mad little shorties. That shit.
Yeah, that shit was not. They were coming out nonstop.
Nonstop. You feel me? Nonstop. And he's like, yo, they had to punch in order to survive. They had to punch holes in the roof. Damn. Survival was mitigated on the fact that you either had hammers or you had the strength to punch a hole in the roof.
Blue.
And it would be a roof that still was able to sustain whatever Dorian threw at it. So I'm like,
Blue. Survival was mitigated on the fact that you had an attic.
Survival was mitigated on the fact that you actually had an attic to punch a roof through.
That's right, because the water was the ocean. Well, they said that the storm surge was 33 feet. And Dorian was bringing 33 feet of water. Remember, it sat on top of that small island for 18 hours, okay, with a storm surge. So people were running out of their houses because the storm surge was covering basically the storm surge was swallowing houses up. People were being crushed under buildings and houses. The sister said that not only, she said, you don't even know where the houses used to be. Everything has been leveled.
Yeah, they don't know where the houses was at. They're just standing in empty foundations. Like, yo.
Abaco Island reached national fame in 2001, the same year of 9/11.
Right.
2 weeks before the towers fell, when Black America basically suffered one of their biggest tragedies, and that would be the death of the queen of R&B, Aaliyah. Aaliyah's plane basically crashed. Hold on, let me see if I can share this content. Got a lot of research. Well, Okay, Marsh, can you see it? Is the screen being shared?
Hold on. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas is the place of death of Aaliyah. Okay, that's where she died. All right, let me go to the next slide. Okay. So on August 25th, 2001, American R&B singer Aaliyah was among 9 people killed in a plane crash after departing Marsh Harbor Airport after filming the music video for her single, Rock the Boat. Okay. And then this is just a timeline of the area in Abaco. So here we have on September the 1st, 2019, Hurricane Dorian, a Category 5 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale, made landfall in Marsh Harbor, tying the record with the 1935 Labor Day hurricane for the highest sustained winds at landfall for an Atlantic hurricane. Okay. So real quick, let's just pull up something else. Let's give us the meaning of Dorian, because we hear about Dorian, but I don't think people know what Dorian is. So Dorian is a unisex given name of Greek origin. In Greek, the meaning of Dorian or Doris, a district of Greece, or Doros, a legendary Greek hero. Another possible origin of the name Dorian is from the Greek Dorios, meaning child of the sea. Okay. So sister died in Abaco, more specifically the exact place where this hurricane made landfall, Grand Marsh.
Bro, Aaliyah been on my mind, you know, not only because Dame Dash, you know, he had been resurging and resurfacing, but you know, in particular, every time that we get, even Bobby in the lecture, he was talking heavy about Aaliyah, you know what I'm saying? But always leading up to 9/11, it reminds me mentally where we were at as a people, me in particular. You know, when 9/11 came, I didn't have a lot left because Aaliyah took all of that shit. Like, niggas was crying.
I couldn't cry for 9/11 because I was
all
out.
cried out. Like, I was drawing a picture of her with butterfly wings, and I had to put the towers as the backdrop of it because the shits had fell. But she was the one who was drawing the emotion and the sentiments. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be right back. Let me get up. I gotta get the charger.
She ain't Queen of the Damn yet. Not that that changed anything. I was just, you know, I started looking at that shit different. And I'm like, oh shit, they ritualized that girl in a fucking movie. It's like her body is just caught up to what was already well established, you know, by way of that movie when they turned her to dust. They turned her to ashes and she burnt up in real life. They turned her to ashes, then they blew the ashes away. And that was almost like they captured the spirit but then dispersed it. It was crazy how I was interpreting when I was seeing it. And yeah, rest in peace to that sister. You know what I mean? Definitely, you know, it was definitely a loss that was felt. And it had a lot of reverberations, you know, with that particular loss. But yeah, you know, like I said, just the exploration in blackness and retribution and, you know, the fact that so many things are coinciding with this year in terms of the celebratory nature of blackness, like 400 years in captivity, and that allegedly coincides with Genesis 15:13 about the prophecies of the children of Israel that will be in a long lost land, a forbidden land, for 400 years in captivity, you know, and the children of Ham and the curse that was dispersed because you saw the nakedness of your father, and the same children observing the nakedness of their father by way of the equinox in 2017, the Great American Equinox that was not supposed to be, according to the indigenous people of this land, you're not supposed to observe the eclipse. They say that's like watching your parents have sex. So it almost sounds like the same thing with the Noah mythos, you know. And I watched it. Shit, I was up there in Mount Shasta on top of the mountain. I observed it. It was one of the most freakish things that I've ever bore witness to. But millions of people observed it too. And immediately after that, you know, we started getting these biblical portion-sized hurricanes. They were ravishing all of the places in the Caribbean with biblical connotations attached to them, such as Puerto Rico, the Puerto Riches, such as St. Croix, which means St. Cross, you know, and the Virgin Islands, all named after Virgin Mary. Um, you know, other places all through the Caribbean, the DR hit, you know what I'm saying? And what is the Dominican Republic? What a Dominican friar, you know? All of these religious connotations, you know, experiencing biblical size weather fronts, deluges, floods, you know, and then came the fires. In October happened the beginning of the burning of Hollywood, the proverbial beginning of it by way of um, Harvey Weinstein, right? Followed by the actual fires in Hollywood. Hollywood actually was on fire a few months after that. You know what I mean? Then they had the fire in the Warner Brothers lot that they don't talk about. They burned all of the masters from all of the master musicians that we had grown up on, all of the classics, right? Not more so the newer artists, but the older, all of the classics got burned up at the beginning of this year in the fire that they had at the WB lot, leading all the way up into the next total eclipse that took place on July 2nd. It was observed in South America, and everywhere that shadow of that hurricane hit is the same place that's on fire right now in the Amazon, Uruguay, Brazil, and it stretched all the way down to think Chile, right? And then that coincided with the unveiling or the uncovering of another Stein. This time it was Epstein. So you got Weinstein and you got Epstein. And both issues where it started exposing the child trafficking rings and the the pedophilia and stuff like that. So you got hurricanes, you got fires, you got pedophilia, right? This shit has been going on since 2017. This unveiling, this unraveling, this unearthing of Earth. You know what I'm saying? This unearthing of Earth, showing you what are the ramifications, black man. Because this is supposed to be your year. You're supposed to be in your fucking Leo phase of reassuming the leadership of the planet. Not because your leadership, if you're giving back the keys to the kingdom, black man, this is not just about Black America. You're supposed to be the alpha. You're the Lord of the land. You are the master of the universe. Keep fucking identifying yourself as God. What does that mean? You're in charge of everything. You have to protect the mother and the child. Who's the mother and the child? The mother's Mother Earth. The child is her fucking children. So at the time, when you're supposed to be taking place, you the keys to the kingdom, the universe is showing you what's the real being everything but what you're supposed to be. So the fact that you haven't addressed this adversary problem, right? This white man running wild on this motherfucking planet, now the planet is in turmoil to a degree where it's irreversible. Japan is talking about dumping the Fukushima waste back into the Pacific Ocean again, right? 20% of the fucking lungs of the planet up in fire. Lord knows what the other ramifications are along the rest of the ring that goes around the fucking world. Shout out to KT for pointing that out. And these are things that we're just not assessing, and we don't know what the full level of ramifications are for the planet. Now, if you want to be a little nigga, you want to be a Morisco and just stand in your place and deal with the human shit, then go and deal with that. But if you keep identifying yourself as God or God-like, goddammit, it comes with a big.
That's a verb. It ain't about growing locks. Look.
It ain't about, I said it in a rhyme, it's not about you reciting how many miles the earth is from the sun, my nigga. That's not going to
happen. The verb. You niggas got work to do. And if you a goddess, there's work to do too. It ain't about fancy makeup and all of that stupid shit. It's work to be done. Like gods and goddesses, that's an action. That there's work to be done. You got to play ball. Because you in the devil's playground right now.
I'm reminded, the Bobbies of this, the Phils and the fucking Delberts. These men, not only they did their 10,000 hours, but that didn't stop them. That didn't allow them to be grandizing on platforms and showcasing. Like, they still were doing the work up to date. They still were reading all of the articles, reading
up to date, yeah,
and deciphering and decoding and making predictions. And now we live within those predictions.
And Delbert didn't get to enjoy his fruits of his labor. It ain't like Bobby sitting back counting mad dollars, enjoying the fruits of his labor. Dr. Sabi, he didn't necessarily, it's a lot of the elders who just kept working, kept putting in that work selflessly.
Phil is still doing webinars. Phil is still getting information out there. And I don't know if that shit is to still pay the bills. But he's still working. You understand what I'm saying?
Why they out here, while a lot of these niggas out here jerking, and they only did 2 YouTube videos and they became a Mach D overnight.
Yeah.
But let me finish.
Yeah, come on.
So I did a video with Blue Pill on Instagram yesterday, and I dismissed in a manner that is not necessarily, you know, it's not, I dismissed it in a manner that I wasn't pleased with. After I rewound the video and watched it over, somebody brought up the implications of heart. And I somewhat dismissed it as being conspiratorial, you know? I didn't give it the kind of credit that it may have deserved. And I mainly would say that it was dismissive because there wasn't enough research to say, oh, word, maybe it might be hard, because of the fact that there's an quote unquote naval base in Abaco Island, or there's a naval base in the Bahamas that is considered to be Area 51 in Bahamas. You could go and research that, yeah. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and share these screens so, you know, we could restore responsible journalism. And this is not just about what niggas is channeling. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of y'all don't even got cable talking about you channeling. You don't got no Wi-Fi. What you channeling?
You got no Xfinity.
Niggas don't got Xfinity. What you channeling?
What channel? What you channeling?
What channel you on? Who you talking to? Why you don't get lottery numbers if you channeling? You know what I'm talking about?
Why none of you channeling niggas ever hit the lotto? Like, why you never channel no fucking numbers, man? Huh? Why the universe wasn't conspiring for that level of success?
I wonder. So here we go. Do you see that screen?
Yes.
The U.S. Air Force develops and tests their advanced technology at Area 51 in the Nevada desert. That's the Air Force, right?
That's those new crafts everybody's seen.
That's that's the cigar-shaped crafts that you talk about. That's the unidentified flying objects. You know, that's the Space Force that they just launched, which is the newest branch of the military, where they're basically going to be chasing aliens, all right? Because the Air Force deals with planes and drones, and the Space Force is what's dealing with space. So there ain't nothing out there that, you know, that they got to worry about. It ain't like the ISIS the International Space Station is giving niggas problems. No, the Space Force is them saying we have issues in space, or we have to protect our space. So the U.S. Air Force, that's Area 51 in Nevada that they talk about raiding. They want to have an Area 51 raid. But the U.S. Navy, which deals with the maritime, it deals with water, it deals with the ships, it deals with the ocean, they have their own secretive testing facility, and it's right in the middle of Bahamas on Andros Island. The Navy began developing the base in 1964 to test underwater vehicles, weapons, and systems, okay? HARP would fall under both weapons and systems, okay? Just to be clear. All right, let's see another slide. All right, this is leading up to some information. Okay, this is just the front of that article. The Navy has its own Area 51 and is right in the middle of the Bahamas. This was in July 25th, 2019. Okay, so they just let this out. They just launched this article to let the family know that they are right there in the Bahamas, and they have their own Area 51 where they could do basically whatever they want to do. Now here is the trajectory, or here is the length of the quote unquote, is 203 kilometers from Great Abaco, right, to the Andros Islands. As you remember, the Bahamas is a conglomerate or a compendium of islands, right? 700, I believe, that make up what you know as the Bahamas, okay? And according to popular lore, they say that's where Atlantic was and other things. They were sunken. That's where the Atlantis, I'm sorry, you know,
Which
and as a result of
melanated Atlantis etymologically means the melanated women, according to Bobby.
That's right. And according to
that's why that energy is so strong out here. Please continue.
Yes, yes, very strong. You know, so this is the length. Okay. So when I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, harp." You know, I could see it. I could feel it. But something wasn't sitting right with me. Something was saying there's more to this story. Now, thanks to the multitudes of researchers that are part of our network, I like to keep my researchers in the private. You know, you never let your R&D team or your research team out there. You know, they're working in private. He's about other information that was, you know, that I was able to add to the narrative. So let me see. We began to look. All right, let's just read a little bit of these, little bit about the area that was affected.
Yes.
All right. Give me 1 second, y'all. So Abaco and Grand Bahama Islands, with a combined population of 70,000, are known for their marinas, golf courses, and all-inclusive resorts. If anybody's not familiar with all-inclusive, that's basically when you niggas pull up on a ship and you go to some colonialized resort where you don't have to leave the land. They provide you everything that you need in this safe space. Meanwhile, usually, like in the Dominican Republic and other places, like in Jamaica, the population is basically third world, eating out of garbage sometimes and going through whatever, living in shanty towns. But here it is, you kikiing on a resort, white sanding it and whatnot, Mexico, Punta Cana, you know, places like that. So that's an all-inclusive. To the south, the Bahamas' most populous island, New Providence, which includes the capital city, Nassau, has more than 250,000 people, and they suffered little damage. Bahamian officials received a tremendous number of calls from people in flooded homes and desperate callers trying to find loved ones, left messages with local radio stations. Okay. So I'm doing the research. I'm like, I need motives. I need motives. Why would HARP? You know, first people were like, the Abacos Islands has a concentration of Haitians on it. And, you know, the Haitians who were displaced from the Haitian earthquake, they basically made that their home. And it was a land that the European developers were trying their damnedest to get these Haitians off of because it's prime real estate. I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. You know, they mad at the Haitians, but I'm like, they not firing up HARP to remove Haitians. Let's be clear. You know, I don't see it. I just can't see that. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to what the Haitians and what they represent, but I don't see them firing up Category 5s and whatnot to just clean Haitians off the land.
They would enact what they're doing in South Africa, xenophobia first. Right?
would kick in first.
They'll tell the Bahamians, like, look,
it
was out here doing black magic.
That's right.
Christianity, go clean that shit up. And they
well, that's what was happening according to my research anyway. There was friction amongst the quote unquote Haitians and the locals, the Bahamians. You know, I don't know if it was based off of, you know, some Zopound shit. I don't know if it was based off of the drug trade. I don't know if it was based off of religious, you know, disparities. I don't know if it was based off of the fact that the Haitians got the voodoo, but there was some xenophobia that was, you know, kicking off, but not to the point to where, you know, so I was like, nah, I need more. So I kept digging. And one of the researchers dropped the article in my inbox, and everything changed from that point. It all began to make sense, okay? And I've seen this pattern show up, and I saw it show up in 2017. And I was like, okay, we might be on to something, all right? China builds port in Bahamas, provides military assistance and equipment 180 miles off the U.S. coast. Got it. So this is October 31st, 2017. So we live in a day and time where there is something called a trade war taking place. Like I said on my show last night, if you are not into entrepreneurship, if you're not into exporting and importing, if you're not into anything that's dealing with cutting the middleman out, if you're just dealing with consumer-based reality, meaning that you just click on Amazon, you know, not even really Amazon at that point. You know, yeah, maybe Amazon, not Alibaba though, but if you're just buying off of Amazon or you going to the mall, you punching the clock, and you don't know nothing about the trade war, it's not probably affecting you. You don't understand why it's happening. You don't even care about it. But for individuals who decided to cut the Europeans' hands out of their pocket, meaning cutting the middleman out, translation, if I want to pay a Jordans, instead of going to Nike Town or instead of going to Foot Locker, I'm going to cut them out of the picture, and I'm going to go right to the factory that's making the Jordans, and I'm going to get them for $10. That's Alibaba. That's China. If I want to get some t-shirts and I don't want to go to the Indians or the Arabs in the wholesale district or whatever, or the gas station, niggas be getting they blanks from the gas station for $5, I could go through Alibaba and get it for $25. That's cutting the middleman out. That is something that is terrifying capitalistic bottom line America, especially in Trump's America, where it's all about the bottom line, and they want their hands in every single pot. They are tired of being cut out. They actually chastised Barack Obama for saying that he was allowing, and he was kind of, you know, cutting out the middleman. He wasn't letting the good old boys in big industry continue to eat. So all of this rollbacks, all of this shit that Trump is doing on his golf course at Mar-a-Lago when they sitting down with all of these multi-billionaires and whatnot, the appointments in his cabinet, all of these things, Steve Bannon, all of it. The fact that he brought on a dude from Exxon to be his first chief of staff is all dealing with them getting back their
big business.
Big business. Okay. So let me read this article. So in 2019, to have China right off of the coast of America when there's a war taking place. Now, when they say trade war, people will be like, that ain't no war. That's just tariffs. What you would have to understand and understand is that when you do the research on how many other wars have started, it started exactly like that, fucking with the bag. You fuck with you interrupt the bag, and then it gets personal. It's the same thing as nigga politics. What do niggas say? As long as he ain't sleep with my whiz or fuck with my money, then we don't gotta go to blows. But the minute you cross that line, then you know, the majority of our brothers and sisters that are put in pine boxes is over shit dealing with money. Oh, he's in my corner. You on my block. You stepping on my toes. Oh, you trying to get, you know, all of that stupid shit. Well, think about that in the billions. China built a port on a remote island of the Bahamas, 180 miles off the U.S. coast, prompting suspicion from locals who are concerned about China's potential military ambitions in the area. The port is currently empty, unused, and surrounded by barbed wire. During the construction of the port, a top official with the Bahamas' then ruling Progressive Party vowed that China will actively provide military assistance to the Bahamas in defense dialogue. Okay? So here you have China right off of the coast of America telling a Caribbean island that they're going to provide assistance, military assistance. Big league politics have learned from Bahamian sources that residents are afraid to talk about the new Chinese installation in Cooperstown, which has a population of 676 on the island of Abaco. Coincidentally, the 45-acre port was built by the China Harbor Engineering Company, CHEC, and is financed by the Exim Bank of China and the Bahamian government. The port is closed and the road around it is too small for even construction trucks to drive on. Locals speculate that the port will be used for submarines. Now, if anybody is in the military that's in the chat, that's in the armed forces, you could be a regular private and you know that that's a big no-no in terms of, you know,
strategy, right?
that global strategy, like with Pompeo at the CIA and with Bolton as the chief of staff. He just got fired today. He's a warmonger. He's a war hawk. He's a war hawk. Everybody surrounding Trump right now are all war hawks. That is a no-no. That has to go. You cannot allow China to have, remember, this is the war of the ports. The wall that's being built in Texas, that's dealing with that's dealing with the war of the ports, the importing and exporting of goods. So he who controls the ports, especially in war, right, is he who has the upper hand. So here we go, fast forward to today to show you that this is an issue that the United States of America is having. It says the U.S. is worried that China's Dorian relief effort in the Bahamas may be a bid to gain influence and foothold. Let's read the article. Okay, a little bit of that white fragility and that yellow fever is taking place.
Right, making them see red again.
Making them see red. Hurricane Dorian's devastation of the Bahamas reportedly has U.S. officials worried China may use the tragedy as a backdoor to get a foothold in the Caribbean nation, with the communist country using international aid efforts as a Trojan horse to establish a base of influence just 50 miles from the Florida coast. Current and former U.S. officials, some speaking anonymously to the media, said this week that the Trump administration currently is focused on helping Bahamians who are struggling in the immediate aftermath of the storm, which struck the island as a Category 5 and, according to some estimates, caused as much as $7 billion in damage. But in the month and years ahead, officials say the U.S. must also pay close attention if China emerges as a key player in the recovery effort. They are certainly concerned about the Chinese having full access to the region. Fernando Cutts, a former senior director in the Trump administration's National Security Council, told NPR. You could imagine a situation where they would develop intelligence capabilities and intelligence gathering capabilities. So it would be advantageous to create a weather modification war, a war machine, or it would be advantageous to launch a HARP-controlled attack in the Bahamas to destroy. Remember, this is a targeted, this is, what do they call that? Direct, what is that? The targeted weapons?
Oh, direct energy weapons.
The direct energy weapons. It would be advantageous for the security of America, the USA, to destroy whatever port or whatever base that the Chinese built on Abaco Island, because Abaco Island got wiped out. Everything around it got wiped out. The thing sat on top of it for 18 hours and it was moving at 1 mile per hour. So whatever that,
18 hours. They said 40 hours, bro.
No. It moved to, it hit Abaco and then it hit the Grand Bahamas. So it basically was moving through that area for 30 hours, but it sat directly on top of a, they had a target, whatever it was targeting, it was sitting on the eye of the storm, was sitting on top of it for 18 hours doing its damage.
Right.
All right, let's continue. So, which even prompted us to do further research, because it's not just the Bahamas that America or the USA has been accused of having HARP or direct energy weapons destroy the ports or destroy the nations, or to basically disrupt whatever is being done in those regions. Mark Rubio said he's very concerned about China's effort to influence into Latin America and the Caribbean. Okay. On Grand Bahama Island, right? The same place that got destroyed, some 55 miles off the continental United States, a Hong Kong-based company has spent approximately $3 billion developing and expanding a deep water container port. The Freeport Container Port's Chinese and Bahamian backers expect to benefit from increased shipping through the region as a result of the expansion of the Panama Canal, not to mention an overall boost in trade between China and Latin America and the Caribbean. But China's financial ties to the site, which go back 2 decades, are receiving new scrutiny from U.S. analysis, particularly given to what happened to Sri Lanka in 2017, when the South Asian nation lagged in debt payments for an ambitious Chinese finance port project at Hambantota that fell woefully short of economic expectations. The Sri Lankan government signed over the port in a 99-year lease that allowed China to rock. So what happens with China is they'll basically sign a 99-year lease with you. If you base, it's the whole, it's the shit that the economic hitmen were doing with the IMF. If you cannot pay your lease, this is what they're doing in Africa. Can't pay, take shit, and then they. So they a long game, long.
Breaking up. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said I was breaking up?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is China is playing a long game with long money.
Mm-hmm.
And what they'll do, signing 90-year leases. This and they were doing it in what's that? Nambia. And they're signing these 99-year leases with the mining companies and things of that nature. And, you know, they're giving out loans. If you default on the loan, they'll own your property. They'll own your ports. So America is shaking in their boots because China is basically advancing in the game of monopoly. They're buying up the Puerto Rico is called the Port of Riches. Many places in the Caribbean and in Latin America that are in bed with China have coincidentally been destroyed by what they call hurricanes, but these have become freak hurricanes. So let's continue. China has built 7 new military bases in South China Sea, U.S. Navy commander says. So they're getting ready for war, okay? They're stacking up. And America, being that they got bases all over the damn world, they want to be the only ones with that. While the White House is focused on a trade war, Beijing has hardly skipped a beat with its global ambitions. Its investments in leadership in the Caribbean bring the Chinese presence to the U.S. doorstep in what could be another turf war and the growing rivalry between Beijing and Washington. Florida Republican Senator Mark Rubio, a well-known China hawk who also leads the Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee on the Western Hemispheres, says that he is very concerned about China's efforts to extend its influence into Latin America and the Caribbean, particularly as it concerns gaining access to strategic assets such as ports. The United States must do more to warn off its regional partners from doing business with Beijing. How, America? And you've kept these people in poverty. The only reason that you go to these countries is to use them as sex dens for your pedophiles, and you rape them of their resources. What the hell do they owe? What do they owe to the filthy Americans? So here we have Puerto Rico's China rescue, exotic plan to revive growth. Mm-hmm. So China's in Puerto Rico, all right? But even before Hurricane Irma, let me show you this. They were about to do something big with China. Okay, so this is from 2014. This is before the hurricane. Puerto Rico as a province of China. Remember, what were they voting? They were voting to remove themselves from being a commonwealth of who?
U.S. Facts.
Talk black to me. Okay, so as a result of them wanting to get out from the colonial grip of America, they were getting ready to do business, big business with China, all right? From the recent post in which I suggested that Puerto Rico should become a province of China came some comments made by Captain High. The exchange, the good captain brought up some questions and points that merited a more thoughtful set of responses than the space allotted by Blogger. So I moved, What is the draw for China? Making Puerto Rico their new province means acquiring territory that combines an economic advantage to be determined but largely based on privileged access to the U.S. of part of a economy and a political thumb in the eye of that same rival. Hold on. More importantly, how do you suppose that this state of affairs would come to be a reality? Do you believe, for example, that the United States will really allow China to just have it? What of the military relevance the island holds? It seems unlikely that the US will be inclined to give that up. That might be the only reason why China could want the island. First things first, why would China want us? The simplest answer, we are an import-dependent economy with pretty much a single source supplier. Even with the recession, we are fourth. Give me a minute. I wish I could just slide to the side, but that's not how this thing works. I got to keep clicking. So click with me. They're a single source supplier. Even with the recession, we are the fourth largest buyer of the US of part of A. And we have been for a long time. And we've shown for a long time that we don't care that our economy is handcuffed and hobbled us so long as we get easy credit and layaway terms. If you think about it, all China would be doing is cutting out the middleman and selling directly to us. Okay, like I said, in a capitalistic society, China is the biggest threat because they undercut the niggas on the block selling them things for 17.5.
Right. They're saying we got it for 11.
11. You don't need them. You don't have to suck up to the IMF. You don't gotta suck up to the UK. You don't gotta suck up.
Yup.
Yeah, hold on. You know? So I see a lot of I've just shown that we could draw, instead of being in speculative spaces, we could now have a clearer understanding. We could have a more fact-filled reason behind why and HARP, why they would basically be responsible for destroying a small island off the coast of America, and why they would be slow to help these people, and why Donald Trump would not allow individuals into the United States who are looking for some kind of aid and help after their island has been destroyed, turning people away and whatnot, and calling them criminals, drug dealers, and bad guys, and all of these derogatory things. Why the military is over there, why they are basically, basically saying that, that the recovery for the Abaku Islands is going to, be at the hands of the corporations now, So that's just some of the research, you know what I mean? I was able to gather over the last few hours of some digging that I was doing, but I'm definitely gonna bring a little bit more to the table as I dig more,
Were you able to uncover any information dealing with the activity of HARP? Because around these times people pop up with all of the screenshots and they be like, look, I'm on a HARP site and it said that HARP got activated exactly at the same time that X1, like, I seen that shit for all of the, vainglorious natural disasters that we know about. Were you able to find?
You know what, Lou? Yeah, I mean, if I go look for it, I'll probably be able to find it. I didn't even get to go and look for that as we jumped on this live and did and got to doing what we have to do.
what I'm gonna look at is that military base in the Bahamas that they said is the Area 51 of the Bahamas. It's a secret base, so you got to do a lot of digging and go through some back doors. I might have to travel to the dark web, put on my trench coat, you know what I'm talking about, and go deep sea diving in the deep web and see what I could come up with. But I'll find it out. I'll find out what's going on.
And let me say this, y'all. We are going to China in the end of October. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you are an investor, you know what I'm saying, and you have any interest on doing business, we're not talking politics, we're talking business. If you have any interest, if you have any inventions or you are manufacturer minded, I would advise that you holler at us. You dig what I'm saying? Because
that's a fact.
We're gonna be going to China and making some relations. So the relations are already there. We're gonna be solidifying those relations, the overtures that have been made for us to come over there and do business. Don't get distracted.
Yeah, don't get shook.
Don't get shook. You feel me?
Don't get shook.
Get shook, my nigga.
You know, and I would encourage those of us that are in the armed services, don't get manipulated either. You know, don't get manipulated to put your note to be used as a tool or to be used as cannon fodder for a conflict. You don't even know what it's about. And at the end of the day, you don't even benefit at the end of the day. Like that has nothing, you'll never benefit off of anything going on between Uncle Sam or Trump's administration in China.
Yeah, because oftentimes, immediately when I mention China, right, the convenient Africans, the Africans is what I call them. They'll immediately bring some shit up about China and Africa and how they doing the continent wrong, right? And this is not to mitigate that or anything, but can you give us some back history on China's involvement on the continent?
Yeah, communist China
got there.
What liberated Africa was not just Bob Marley songs. What liberated Africa was Marxism, Lenin, Lenin, and the communist socialism, Marxism, Lenin, and all of these quote unquote communist movements. All right. It wasn't they were getting fed the music of the Marleys, the Rastafarians, and they were feeling that, but they were studying when they went. Many of these revolutionaries from Africa left Africa and basically were in Europe and other places where they got their formal education, and they were influenced by outside influences of the movements inside of communist China, Mao Zedong in particular, and they were influenced by the Russians. And then when they decided, because remember, the communist countries were banging on the colonial countries, they were banging on the colonial territories. They were not rocking with the British. They were not rocking with the Dutch. They were not rocking with the Rhodesians like that. You know what I'm talking about? They were opposed to them. All right. They were opposed to imperialism, advancement, and whatnot. They were propagating communism. So when the shit started getting kicked off, these Africans who did not have the weapons to fight these imperialistic powers, they began to receive under the guise of, they begin to receive funding. Yeah. They also begin to receive training, military, paramilitary, guerrilla training. You understand? They did it in Cuba. Okay. So when you see Che Guevara and all of them fighting in Africa and doing things like that, that's because these are communists. All right. So It was the communists who helped liberate Africa from colonial imperialistic. It wasn't the Roman Catholic Church that helped them. They wasn't giving niggas hammers.
And it wasn't you, Nick.
Huh? And it wasn't.
Wasn't you
The
niggas?
Pan-Africans.
No, it wasn't W.E.B. Du Bois. It wasn't the Boule. It wasn't you, it wasn't the Rainbow. It wasn't turn the cheek niggas doing nothing. Africa was not liberated by niggas turning cheeks and you know, and allowing and crossing Selma, no offense, but they didn't take that turn the cheek passive stance. They were clapping it out. And a lot of them negotiated at the end and things of that. They had those meetings at Buckingham Palace. You know, they had treaties. They broke a treaty. If you niggas ever been into war, then you know treaties come with war. You know what I'm saying? The guns got to get put down at some point. In my humble opinion, I don't think that a lot of these African countries they got the short end of the stick. I think that they got outmaneuvered by people who were smarter than them and who were more strategic than them on the quote unquote imperialistic sides. But Africa owed a debt to communist China, and communist China has come to cash in on their debt. And it's as simple as that. I mean, we could add other little pieces into it, but when it comes to China and Africa, they're more familiar with the Mongolians and the Manchurians than they are with the Akatas. And that's no offense to our people over here and whatnot, but that's not, I mean, we played a part in Ethiopian war, you know, fighting off Mussolini and whatnot. We played a part in the Ethiopian wars. You know, we played a part in some other things, but, you know, it was niggas in fatigues with American flags on their uniforms in all wars fighting for these crackers. Let's be clear. I was at the Buffalo Soldier Museum. Let's keep it a buck.
Let's be clear. And there's some niggas that done 3 and 4 wars.
3 and 4, front line, Korean War,
I mean?
Vietnam War.
These niggas be the grand marshals in the front of every fucking parade in these little towns. Cut it out.
That's right. And came home and got the Red Summer, and came home and got lynched, and came home and got dragged through fucking towns on the back of pickup trucks. That's what they gave you for all of your services. That's a fact.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Your services are no longer needed, like you John Bolton or somebody. You know, that's what they gave you back.
They gave you this. What you niggas earned, all right? This is post 9/11 in this fucking country.
That's a fact.
Niggas was waving flags. You same niggas holding this nigga up in all you rap songs.
That's right.
You got what you was looking for.
That's right. Did they show that in the Wu-Tang biography though? The documentary, how them niggas went patriotic on us?
Nah, they ain't get to that.
Yeah, they didn't get to that yet. Okay.
They were dragging, you know, it's RZA's interpretation, so he's still sunning Raekwon, totally demasculating the nigga on wax. You know what I mean? It's a dirty, you know, that shit is a dirty hit job, so.
The dirty hit job, right?
You feel me?
So, I don't, you know, take it up with China, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Take it up with China. You know, don't be on the wrong side of history. Do your research. People be all emotional about, you just got to do your research. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, they're not going to teach you this in your schools. They're not going to, like, they're hiding these things from you. But China has been behind fighting this motherfucking European. The yellow man has been behind banging on this pink-skinned man since we've known him, since Genghis Khan. And I don't know why niggas have put themselves as buffers in the middle of that conflict. Hold on, Blue.
They buffers in the middle of that.
Blue, hold on. Because Japan saw you niggas fighting them. Korea saw you niggas fighting them. Laos and Cambodia saw you niggas. Nigga, you was killing your own people at Angkor. Vietnam saw you niggas fighting them for these white people. So
now look at you.
Now look at you.
You can't get them off your back. They're a permanent fixture. They like your fucking book bag. Now they want your babies, right?
Look, hold on.
Babies and dresses.
Hold on, Blue. And the same Koreans that you helped liberate in the Korean War, because you lost that war. But those same Koreans, because anytime they come into the Americas from another country, those were the traitors of that country. Let's be clear. if you see a Syrian over here, if you see Iraqis over here, if you see Vietnamese, those are the people from Lebanon. Those are the traders of that
niggas,
war.
yeah, the 7-foot niggas that you see from Africa with the yellow eyes that are on Fifth Avenue selling Louis, and you wonder why these niggas never get locked up. They come from countries that the motherfuckers in them countries made mineral agreements with this country or militaristic agreements with this country, and they let a few people through and they gave them visas. That's how them niggas is here, and that's how they never get motherfucking Peter roll. 7-foot niggas with yellow eyes and dark skin selling Rolexes and motherfucking Louis bags in front of Saks Fifth Avenue, and ADOS can't sell a pair of socks in this fucking city without getting locked up. Not a veteran. Because they'll let the fucking veterans sell socks in New York.
Family,
okay?
This is child friendly. We don't do all of the profanity. This child friendly though.
Oh, what happened to you?
Nah, I'm just saying. We teaching the babies at the same time. We gotta be I gotta remind you.
When you with your child, you child friendly. All right. That's how it goes. Yo, y'all see what do it, right? Make sure Ninja, make sure his daughter's on all of his lives so he could be child friendly.
Vote for Pop Darby.
Cause this
Wu-Tang love the kids, yo. Wu-Tang love the kids, yo.
Kids, right?
Yo, Dave East, Wu-Tang love the kid.
Yeah, but
yo, Jizza.
Yeah. Real talk, like
yo, Golden Arms. Yo, you God. Yo, chill, you God. Niggas, we love the kids, man. No, but you get the picture though. The same Koreans in these nail salons, the same Koreans that are disrespecting our people who close us out of the hair market are the same Koreans that black men put their lives on the line to help liberate in the Korean War. That's a fact.
Right. So it's called the American Century. The 1900s, family, outside of Europeans, not even, I'm gonna even say it like this, because when they went to when they enrolled in the World War, they were fighting Orientals.
They were fighting Orientals.
The entire 1900s, right? They had already washed black and brown people, indigenous people, populations, i.e. Native American and Negro, black and colors, right?
Yeah.
And they felt like, and the Moorish thing was the last vestige of that was in the early 1900s with World War I with the Ottoman Empire. So
Turks.
With the Turks, right? So they finished all of their beefs with those people. And then, of course, there was things going on the continent, but that's other countries. We're talking about the U.S., right? The American century was them fighting the yellow man, okay? In Korea, in the Philippines, in Japan, in China, in Laos, in Cambodia.
Yep.
I'm sure I'm missing something else.
And for clarity purposes, World War II was mainly fought. America did not want no smoke with Germany to the point where people were getting upset because they would not bring it to the Nazis. That was Russia was the ones fighting Germany. America was on Japan. Let's be clear. They only rolled up in Germany at the end when they got washed by Russia. Russia was the one who put it all on the line against the Nazi power. It was not, do your research. People were saying that America was so, they were so, what's the word? They were so sentimental. They were so, they were so, because remember, the majority of the indigenous population of Europeans in America are Germans.
Yes, the majority of European population.
So they had sentiment towards.
They would have to enact the same internment camps, right? Because they told you, because they went to war with Japan, they had to intern Japanese Americans. So if they went to war in World War II with Germany, how many German Americans would have to be interned? because the majority of Europeans in this country are German factoids, right? And a large concentration of them are they in Pennsylvania.
I mean, they in a lot of places.
Yeah, they're a lot of places, but you know, yeah, I left out Thailand, I left out Vietnam. I swore I said that, but yeah, you get the picture. The American Century, and there's a documentary of it on Netflix, I believe.
Oliver Stone.
Yeah, Oliver Stone, amazing documentary. The 1900s was them going to war with the yellow man. You know what I mean?
Right.
It tapered off with the whole communism, dealing with the Cold War. Now they were dealing with Euro Asians. Okay, they were dealing with the Euro Asians, and now they're dealing with the Middle Easterns, who are aspect of those Aryans.
Hold on, but Eurasia, Blue.
Yes.
Eurasia is Turkey, Russia. You remember the Eurasians, because we separate China and all that. No, the Eurasians.
It's all Eurasia.
It's all Eurasia.
Always taught. That's one continent.
It's one.
It's not divided. That's one continent. Pull a globe out.
They fool us. They fool us in the school systems. It's all the Eurasian.
Continents. 4, not 7. The Americas, which is North, Central, and South, right? I'm gonna keep fucking doing this till it registers. Children. The Americas, Africa, Eurasia, Antarctica, right? And Australia is the biggest archipelago.
Facts.
Right? My grandfather never told no lies.
That's a fact. So that's just a little bit of backstory to why there are such negative sentiments between the quote unquote yellow man and the black man, because you niggas have been butting your nose into conflicts that really don't got nothing to do with you. And to be honest with you, these niggas was trying to get these Europeans off your black ass anyway. What was they telling you in Vietnam? Nigga, go home. Fuck is you doing? Go be like Muhammad Ali and sit this one out.
Children in the audience.
Huh?
I remember it's children in the audience.
Yeah, salute to the children. Pardon. You know, they were telling black men, blood brothers, go and read the book Blood. Was it Blood or is it Blood Brothers?
Blood.
Bloods. The book called Bloods. And they explain how there was all kind of, you know, they were giving our brothers in Vietnam second and third chances. They were wiping out whole divisions and leaving the brothers standing there defecating and pissing on themselves. And then sparing them. Smearing blood on their face saying, look, go home. This is not your war. So don't get rocked.
They was cleaning up. They was cleaning up Mr. Charlie.
They was cleaning them up.
Leaving the brothers standing like, yo, this ain't your drama. Then the brothers went home and their neighborhood was held hostage by teenagers selling crack cocaine to their daughters or their wives and turning out their daughters. And
you saw it in Dead Presidents.
Yeah, they was hiding underneath the couch while military activity and arsenals were going off outside of their window. And now we got these killing fields where all these little niggas from all of these different states are talking about they sold Chicago and they sold Philly and they sold Brooklyn and they sold Third Ward and they sold this and they sold that. That's the remnants of that. You understand? The children just started washing up their elders who came home bent on hand and knee after these wars, begging. They got no respect from the country and no respect from their children. And they didn't fight the war that really counted the most. And they lost the war on drugs because many of them got turned out. And they came here with that monkey. They came back with the monkey from the war because that was the pipeline that they opened up for the Ike Atkinsons, the Frank Lucases of the world, and the Frank Matthews of the world because that's where the Frank connection and all of the dope trade started by way of them going over to the Golden Triangle. They utilized all of them brothers to go over there and open up the floodgates to bring dope over here. And they had the nerve in those findings in the what was the joint that we was reading from Patrick Moynihan, the New Negro, to say, look, if y'all can't get it with the Great Society deal, because Great Society brought welfare, it brought social security and social services. It brought all of these things to the melanated family, right? And they brought the office called OEO, opportunity, equal opportunity, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And them. It started with LBJ, and we ain't talking about LeBron. They said, look, if y'all can't get it legally, get it illegally. They said, control the dope that's coming through your neighborhood. There's major money to be made in the black market. And the Negro failed to operate as a man on both ends, and now we're dealing with the fallout. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what this is.
You got Malik Yogurt. What's up? What's up, Bella?
Good.
Good?
Good.
Okay.
Now you want to be
Yeah, the baby's in the building. Now you want to act shy.
You show the chain?
Hmm?
Oh, you took it off? Oh.
Okay, what's that? You got drip?
Look what Daddy got for my birthday.
Hey, I like that.
I got her name on it.
That's beautiful.
Rip.
Just like you.
All right. We got to tell Uncle something when we finish, okay? All right. Where you going? Yeah, so that's, like you said, that's the fallout that we are facing in our communities, in our environments. It is directly tied into the drug scourge. Prior to that, we did not have the kind of problems, the myriad or the plethora of issues that we have today.
Right.
And you could look in the books, you could go and look at documentaries, you could go and read, you know, unfortunately, Hollywood has given us this polarized depiction of subservient, weak-minded, you know, scary Black people who were basically the help and the butler and the fiddler on the roof and all of these things, Chicken George, but that's not our history. All you have to do is look at the 100 plus inventors from the 1800s. All you have to do is to Google Marcus Garvey and all of the marches that they had through Harlem. Look at the Malcolm X speeches. Look how clean these people were. So you could look in the faces and see that you could see that these people were not abusing substances.
Yeah, no drugs. Yeah, you could see that.
Yeah, maybe they might have been sipping on some hooch.
Hooch.
They might have been chewing on a coca leaf or something. I don't know, but they did not have that monkey.
You know, they had a strand of the devil's hair.
You know, they might have had a strand of the devil's hair. You know,
Devil's hair and some hooch.
And some hooch. But that was even on the weekends. Like, they wasn't zombied out like our people is zombied out. This thing broke the back of our people, y'all. I don't know if people realize that. I talked about it on my show the other night. What happened, what China had to do to get themselves on their feet again to all of their dope fiend population.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, they wiped them out. Mao Zedong. They remember the Great Wall of China is similar to what Donald Trump is trying to build with this wall around Mexico, but the Great Wall of China kept the foreigners from coming in, but it also kept the Chinese from getting up out of there. And once they locked them doors, they went ahead and cleansed their population of all of the people, the dope fiends, because of the opium epidemic that the British were responsible for. That's where you get Hong Kong. You know what I'm saying? So I forgot to mention that if you really want to see warfare, go and Google what Hong Kong is going through right now. That is destabilized. That's how the CIA works. They're destabilizing the government. They're trying to destabilize China by destabilizing Hong Kong. They were just singing the Star Spangled Banner, waving American flags this weekend.
Yeah, they
having mass protests.
They always propagandize mass protests by sending in the soldiers of democracy. Democracy,
that's right.
CIA tool that they
CIA
utilize,
tool.
Yes, to destabilize governments around the world. So because, there's no democracy here. These are
there's no
political ideas, but these are also weapons of war. You know what I'm saying? But because it's politics, people can't see it for what it is. They only think when you hear war, just like I said, propaganda is an arm of war. You know what I'm saying?
90% of war is deception.
Is an art of war, the war of deception. And there was a few articles that came out recently. I'm trying to remember which ones it was where I was posting, talking about, look, this is what we be talking about. Like, even the shadow wars that they're engaged in, the bombing of these nuclear sites in Iran, the bombing of the nuclear sites in Russia, the bombing of, they're not letting people satellites launch, and they're taking out, they go on a war all over this country.
All over.
No idea, because the only apparatus responsible for telling you such is mainstream media.
It's Google.
No. Or we already know. I don't know if you figured it out by now.
So it's Twitter, Instagram, and Google for people who be like, I don't watch TV. Shit, you watch something worse than TV. You know what I mean? And then for the people that watch TV, you got Fox, CNN, Rachel Maddow, Donald Lemon. Like, you're being manipulated and lied to. 90% of war is propaganda. So the propaganda that's being propagated is that the Hong Kong want your G.I. Joe ass to come and save them. Right? They want you to hop out of a B-52 bomber with your Star Spangled Banner parachute and land in Tiananmen Square and liberate them from the evil Chinese. Now, if the Chinese roll through Hong Kong and roll over them people with tanks, then that's going to give America the impetus to say, we got to liberate them in the name of the red, white, and the blue. And, democracy. Niggas gonna buy into that.
Because they wanted democracy, right? It's like democracy is the box asking for the wood. In America, they got to run and provide wood wherever the box is asking for it. That's democracy.
Democracy is the thirst trap.
Yeah, democracy is the thirst trap.
Like,
anytime, like when you come into the chat and you start waving,
you cool?
Democracy is sliding into America's DM. You're like, yo, I got to smash. Like,
I got to smash. Niggas in Spain said that they wanted this D. I gotta smash.
Yeah, they
want. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear the thirst trap callings all the way in Angola. I gotta go and smash. You know what I mean? So they send, they sing Steve Rogers and them niggas, the Avengers, and that's the Marvel universe that our people are living in. This is not Call of Duty, family. Don't get caught up in that. You don't get celebrated for that? How many of our people is dying nameless with fatigues on? Nobody's celebrating that.
Look, and mind you, like I said the other day, there is an unprecedented amount, not only of veterans committing suicide, but I have a friend that works with us, and he also
law enforcement.
Huh?
Law enforcement, include them too.
Law enforcement is also committing an unprecedented amount of suicides, but it's 20 military officials a day. And I had known about this at least all the way back since 2015, where they were saying that the numbers was crazier back then. It was something like 1,500, bro. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was
Not being
ridiculous.
spoken of at all. And I started doing the research and I saw documentaries, and it was all, they was tying it to the psychotropics. I think they was messing with them stargates. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, and it also was an unprecedented amount of army personnel or military personnel that is going transgender. You know what I mean? They're chopping off their wood and throwing on wigs. Now I don't know what none of this is about. You feel me?
When I saw the Chelsea Manning thing, right? That was a whistleblower, right? Chelsea Manning was a whistleblower. So the nigga Chelsea Manning went in as like Chester Manning and came out as Chelsea. I'm like, yo, where dude did they locked up? It went in, Chelsea went in like Tekashi and came out like his baby mamas. Like, I'm like, what happened? Where's Tekashi at? It went from Danny to Danietta. So when I saw that, I saw an article and it reflected on the fact that that's a rising trend in the military, not letting transsexual people serve, actual people who are in the services that are actually utilizing the whatever the Army is providing to get the sex changes. I'm like, fam, what in the G.I. Joe Cobra Commander, you know what I mean? Dr. Mind Bend the World is this.
Yeah, so there's an uptick of that. That's going on at an unprecedented rate. You know what I'm saying? And they're offering themselves. They're offering themselves at an alarming rate, you know. And some of it, like I said, could be traced to PTSD. Some of it could be traced to the psychotropics. Some of it could be traced, I guess, to level of possession. They over there in them sands, whipping stuff up, destroying stargates. You don't know what sort of energy has been released. It's all sort of portals that are open. But,
bro,
you know,
I don't mean to cut your wisdom. People who have been fighting the Afghanistani armies have been going mad over centuries. The Russians went mad. You know that? Do you know the level of sorcery? If they think they're going to go to Iran, if they think they can rock with the Persians.
We got to get up out of here. They was going crazy. And they you know, they tell a lot of stories and a lot of tales about stuff that they seen. But yeah, it's some things, and the nerve of me to imply that possession will result in a man wanting to chop his wood off. You know, I don't know if that's the most politically correct thing to say in this particular era, but look, there's some things going on that's very hard to explain, you know, with the normal optic lens. But that's neither here nor there. I think we're saying all that to say, keep your babies from signing up. You know what I mean? Keep your babies from getting involved and thinking that this got something to do with them. When this is all political maneuvering on one level, and on a higher level, like you said earlier, this could be elements that are in bed with one another just to propagate population control, eugenics. Like, we got to knock at least 4 billion off the planet. You know what I'm saying? Let's cook up some political theater. They're all actors in political theater.
I mean, they sit down with each other. They don't dislike each other that much. They always, at least every quarter, 4 quarters in a year, they having a meeting. What does that say? You know, this not back in the days where if you go to war, they killing the general. Like, none of these people they're not dying in their own wars. You know, Trump was about to have tea with the Taliban at Camp David the other day. Like, let's be clear, it's theater. It's theater. You know, and everybody who's on the checkerboard or the chessboard, those are the pawns in the game. And that's how they play it. It's all theater. They get rid of their undesirables. They get rid of their competition through war.
Right.
They send all of you buck niggas on the front line. All you strong niggas go right there and drop about 80 tons of Moab bombs on your head. You know what I mean? It's all theater. Well, they was doing it from Civil War. They were doing it from time immemorial, knocking off the competition. That people, oh, they are black soldiers. Oh, the white man finally allowing us to fight for them. Yeah, nigga, they was lining y'all up. Get rid of
dignity.
Huh?
My dignity.
My dignity.
Give me an opportunity.
You saw Denzel.
I love my country. And you ain't never turned your gun around, huh? You ain't never let a Dixiecrat feel it.
You ain't never had no friendly fire.
You ain't had no friendly fire to come back. You should have came back with motherfucking teardrops. Like, where your teardrops at? Come on.
Yeah, man.
So,
I'm good.
Yeah.
But on that note, man, I think we said enough.
And I ain't played this video yet, though. We got to see the sister in her own words.
Yeah, do that.
She has to speak for her people, because when I saw this video, it was riveting and it put perspective. You know what I mean? And you know, at the end of this, like I said, if you don't have anybody directly in your community that you can partner with to send anything to the Bahamas for relief, we're going to be posting stuff on our page and our stories about different people who we personally know who's picking up the mantle and starting collections to get over there. All right. Well, let me let me get into this video real quick. Shout out to the elder.
Every house right now in Abaco, if there's not one house in Mashaba that is standing, there's not one absolute building that is standing. All the churches are gone. All the gas stations are gone. All the food stores are gone. All the schools are gone. All the homes are gone. Not literally just saying it to say it. Everything is absolutely gone. There is no life in Abaco, period. The whole island got washed away. Places where you know that was standing, you can't even tell whether that this place was standing here, what used to exist on this piece of block. Nothing is there anymore. When you walk the town, all the bushes are brown. Bodies, they have people there trying to find bodies, but so many buildings collapse on top of people. The odor, the scent, everywhere is polluted. Dead bodies everywhere, dead animals, gas.
Yeah, you see this water, yeah? The water over there darker than that.
Gas, whatever you could think about is polluting the water. People looping, people breaking into the food stores, what is left of the food stores, trying to find food, canned items. They taking these things or contaminated water. I know, because the people I was living at was doing it, bringing the food. The children, them getting sick. They need to try evacuate every single living thing off that island. They don't need nobody there. I don't care what they talking about. Clean up, they need to do that themselves. They need to take all the children, all the people off the island, everybody. That place is not nowhere for no one to be at the moment. Absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed, Aunt Michelle. When you walking through town, just to see, I can't. I've been there for 3 years, and Abaco just seeing what it was.
Tarana, you make it. You home.
Just seeing what it was.
And I
pray for we had to move through the storm. The storm moving, things getting whooped up. We had to go in Dayon car, crate, people houses in the middle of the road. Dayon had to come out the car, move crate to get us to where we was. I could feel the car shaking, getting ready to lift up me and IJ and Liam in the car, screaming, hollering for him to get back in the car so the car wouldn't fucking go flying away with us. When we reached by my friend, her mommy bathroom, only thing happened to her mommy 2-story, her bathroom roof upstairs fell in and the kitchen in the back. But when the tail part of the storm came, the surge came into our house up to the 2nd story. We had to take all the children and put them upstairs. I sit on the stairs and just pray the whole time that water didn't cover our house, because people's 2-story house was covered in water. Where the hell I was going to put my children? No life vest, nothing. And they had babies in the house younger than him.
Were they scared? Like, did they know?
They cried the whole time. All the children were scared. Everybody knew what was going on. As as young as they were, they know it was something drastic happening.
Yeah, ripping going on.
And Michelle, this was enough. But I need to sit down in front of the news and see what took place in Abaco, because that couldn't just been a hurricane.
There have been multiple tornadoes.
It wasn't just a hurricane, there have been tornadoes. The way people's homes are destroyed, and me living in this Bahamas, I done been through a Category 5 hurricane right there in South Beach by Jam. I have never seen nothing like that. That was not only a hurricane. When I went back home to where we were staying, I couldn't believe it. If you had stayed in there,
It's a good thing you're on there.
I packed one little bag.
Where's Priscilla?
She stayed there, mommy.
Okay.
They don't want to leave the island.
They don't want, they gonna have to leave.
And the island is polluted. Her niece already in there with a high fever.
She have to
Every
come
day
out.
they going out in town, bringing back these things or the contaminated water where you could smell them. I passed 3 dead bodies the first day, but I decided to, after the water died down, because water was through the town up to your chest. I say, I'm not getting sick. I tell her that my skin started to break out and all. I say, I can wait till the water died down. You walk in, you could see the dead bodies. Bodies everywhere. Everywhere you ride, you could smell it. They have a whole, what they call it? The truck with the bed on the back. They have some people, flatbed. They have some people dressed in white with the mask. Like 20 of them just riding around looking for dead bodies right now as we speak.
That's only the set in the open.
And that's only the set in the open. Because every single house I pass from where I live, every house I pass is
Collapse.
or you don't even know that there was a house there. The whole house is gone, break down. Like, Anna Michelle, this shit is like shit you see happen in Haiti.
In the movies, everyone I know.
That's like a nightmare. I never ever thought I would have ever expected. I just thank God I alive. My friend Ajane, I don't even know if she alive. She might be dead.
I need everybody in their mom to send this voice note to every single person in Nassau. But when I walk through the line, through the eye of the storm, but people, dead bodies is in the road like flies. They lying about the amount of dead people in Nabucco. The morgue at the hospital overfull. The niggas tell me the morgue could only hold 70 people. I see the clinic myself, boy, and they overjammed that, boy. At least 2,000 people dead in that storm, boy. I walk in the back of Great Seston to see my family, bro. Big bodies in the road like flies, but I ain't talking about no 1, 2 things, but see hand sticking up from houses and things where they get crushed, big people looting and stuff, right? Civilians get a hold on guns from Ace Hardware and places and stuff like that, but white people walking up and down by their business trying to protect it with guns, willing to shoot people, right? A martial laws in Abaco. It's a mad world in Abaco, but the media lying about the shit, bro. I just come from Abaco today, y'all know. I need everybody in Nassau there. That's what you know. Spread awareness about happening over there, but they have orders to shoot people by sight on their fuckers. They have to be a base, bro. Spread this way. You gotta let people know what's happening over there by looking at the newspaper when they come across it. They come across 4 o'clock today, and talking about only 20 dead so far in fucking Abaco. You can walk 1 mile and see 20 fucking people dead. But spread this way, and it ain't only no Haitians taking over. That's only the portrayal the media like to get, but it's Haitian and demons doing that shit over there, but that's why the storm come, right? You all too divided and think the Haitians supposed to got black brothers and sisters and things, but you're hating on them, but
So, yo. You hear me?
Yeah.
When I saw those 2 videos yesterday, that was the video. It was that one, and it was the other one where they was riding through Grand Bahamas, and it was the water was all the way up to the roof of the houses. Like, that's what made me go, like, I had to. He was like, share it. I started sharing shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just got in my heart, bro. I woke up depressed this morning. I went to sleep upset. Like, it crushed me. It crushed me, man. Anytime I feel our people going through pain, that shit hurts me, bro. I can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
Not that good.
Hear me better?
I mean, your sound is lower now.
All right, hold on. What about now?
Still low.
Let me know in the chat. Can y'all hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me.
I mean, I can hear you. You just low. Let me see if I can share my video real quick. You want me to do that?
Yeah.
I want to show them when they was riding through the Grand Bahamas on the in the boat.
Yeah. Are we still tough talking tonight, y'all? At 11 o'clock.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Am I part of tough talk? Brooklyn. Brooklyn. Brooklyn.
I don't know what this volume thing is about. Check, check, check.
That's a little better.
So Brooklyn. All right, here we go. Houston. So I said Houston. All right. Yeah. Barely can. All right.
Whatever.
Where your video at? You don't got it?
The way that this thing is set up is not letting me go on my page. It's not. I'm on my phone.
All right, I'll go on your page. Is it? You got it posted on your page?
Yeah. It's on my IG.
All right, let me go to your page. Brooklyn. So Brooklyn. All right, which one is it? Is it an IGTV video? Because I see a black video, then I see destruction of homes.
It might be that one, not the black video. That's Trump. You could play Trump too, for everybody to think about voting for that nigga.
All right, let me play this. Play this other video first.
All right. All looks at.
Huh?
That was the same one that you played with the brother talking. I just made. I like animated it.
Oh,
it's
okay.
The one right there, the water.
This, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I seen this too.
I don't even think the truth was great.
People in the Arctic, man. Save the people. Look here. It's a free fall. Look at this. Wow. Who else in there? Go in the box. There's a little girl. Tell you, man. Oh, boy, tell you. Name me, Red Cross, I gotta do some of the Freeport, boy, minister. This is terrible.
The whole lineage in there.
People.
Oh, niggas doing that.
That's what me in Freeport here. Trying to save people. Sit low.
Damn.
Everybody up? Get a dog dog, man.
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah. That was just Freeport. That wasn't even a Baco.
No, that was Grand Bahamas. Yeah, that's crazy. The whole hood is an ocean, B. Nigga, that was a whole neighborhood.
Oh, facts.
Was Katrina that far up in water?
Hell yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Katrina was up to the roofs and all of that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, when they were standing on the roofs. Like, some people got to see that because it's all about preparation.
I mean,
don't ride out no hurricane.
Yeah, I observed it by being in the islands and just try to picture it. When the ocean meets the land, it overtakes, you know what I'm saying? When you're talking about 24-foot seawalls, you know what I mean? It totally absorbs the land. Like, the land is a speck in the middle of a vast ocean.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna come a day when one of these entire islands are going to be underwater, like the entire island, like on some
Atlantis.
Or
what they was rumored to be.
We're gonna see that in our lifetime. You feel me?
That's a fact. At least in places like St. Croix that are mountainous, you know, I could see you sitting in it. You know, you could get to the top of the mountain. You know, you could fortify yourself. But even in that situation, if them damn winds is hitting that mountain, your ass is gonna go skydiving. You know, it gives me a lot more understanding of what KT went through when he faced Irma and St. Croix, man, and you know.
Was it Irma or Maria?
Maria.
Yeah. They're saying they can't hear me.
Oh well, I guess it's time to go.
I guess so.
You know. Well, thank you everybody for your attendance. Thank you everyone who was very generous with your cash apps. I appreciate the love. You know, I'm going to continue to do more research. We want to bring awareness to what's going on that's affecting our communities. We want to be able to bring a different narrative to tragedies and things of that nature, so we can have a better angle at which to look at things. So it's not just speculation, and we're not just throwing HARP out there and empowering these Europeans like they do everything. But no, we're going to give context to what's going on. This is war. Okay, this is what war looks like in the 21st century. This is what it feels like. And this is called a weather war. It's a different type of warfare. You're going to be exposed to direct energy weapon warfare, laser warfare. What's that shit? Scalar weapon warfare. You know, we're in the future. So war is going to be futuristic. It's no longer infantries and what you saw in the old world wars. You know? But it's real in the field. So that's why we're trying to, you know, hammer into the minds, into the subconsciousness that it's very important. It's almost tantamount to keep it real because the shit is real. It's not a game. This ain't no Popeye's chicken run. You know? It's real life. So with that being said, love and light to the family. Thank everybody for just being who they are.
Let them know if they can't hear me. Tough Talk will be on at 11 in an hour.
Tough Talk Tuesday at 11 p.m. tonight. Blue Pill, Ken Bripson, they'll be back at it tonight in an hour if you're on the East Coast, 2 hours if you out here in Texas. Shout out to Pop Darby. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to my brother Talik at Soul Food Vegan. If you're looking for employment, if you're looking for anything dealing with working at a soul food vegan spot, hit my brother up on the Instagram, slide in his DM, tell him that Felipe, aka Rojo Pill, sent you. And you know, if you're qualified, you'll be with that apron on in no given time. That's soul, SOUL _ food _ vegan. That's in the 3rd ward of Houston, Texas. I mean, you might be able to see Meg Thee Stallion if you pull up. You never know. You know, she be on the quinoa. She gonna ride the boat.
Oh man.
All right.
And you know, to anybody that lost family in 9/11, our continuous condolences to you.
They can't hear you.
Some of them said that they could hear me. What channel? Tell them No to Ledge Media. I'm talking about the channel. Yeah, my audio back. So, you know, to family, if you lost anybody in 9/11, our condolences to you.
Yes.
And yeah, you got some get back still, and it's not with the Arabs. You feel me? You need
That's a fact.
Dig a little bit deeper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody literally got away with murder, and we coming up on a 20-year anniversary, and it's a tragedy.
Yes. Happy New Year to Ethiopia. Addis Ababa.
Oh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you know, we appreciate your attendance in tonight's live. We just wanted to share this information and not really make it about conspiracy or what we feel or how we feel. You know, of course, it's very upsetting, the imagery and all of it, you know, but if we have an opportunity to speak on global politics, just to give you a broader sense of what's going on, it's not enough to tell me that, yo, there's Chinese in Jamaica. Nigga, I know that. It was China. The first place that I knew about the Chinese being in the Caribbean was Jamaica, right? Because they used to have some of them fine things used to come over here. So we've been knew about that.
Been knowing about that.
Been knowing about that. I knew about
that's the coolest thing.
I knew about the Chinaman and Trini. I knew about all of that. But
yeah, I know that.
Them being a dominating economic force in that particular region and really putting their economic politics and policies into play, yeah, it's going down. You know,
it's war games.
Yeah, shout out to Ra Ku, you know, the Cosmo physician. We might just do on our part 4 for the universe conspiring. We might want to tell you what the Cosmos say about the Chinaman, and the Chinaman got next. It don't say that the melanated man got next. His turnaround is like 4,500 years. I mean,
damn, nigga, I gotta keep coming back for that.
Let me stop, because you know I don't want to upset. I don't want to disrupt my political connects. Yeah.
I thought we had next.
The Chinaman, huh?
I thought we had next.
Nah, the Chinaman not going nowhere. And you know, we can look at the astrologics. They're not going to win the war against terror either. You know what I'm saying? Your buddy's on his way out. You know what I mean? And I don't know if there's anything that you can do about that. You feel me? You might not see the fact that he's looking to go to Mars and the moon, right? But it's not a good look for him. It's not a good look for him. And you need to find something to do to occupy your time and your space while his empire falls to pieces. Because the only thing that I see you niggas doing is trying to catch falling pieces. And that's not going to be a good look for you. You trying to catch falling debris and glue that shit back together. That's not what you came here for. Get out of the way.
That's a fact.
Find you a friend, figure something else out. Because this shit that you're doing over here, it's not going to work too long. And the shit is going over here. Look, they done sodomed this shit to death. Like, they can have it. Okay, they said we got next in Africa 2015. Yeah, you're going to be African Asian by 2050, my nigga. Like, it's going to be mad.
Said they got next in Africa.
Yeah. 2050, yeah. You keep believing Afrobeat is going to save this shit. There's going to be motherfuckers running around looking like Tyson Beckford all in Africa.
Niggas going to be 70 in 2050. The fuck is you talking about? we in 2020. How shame on you, Negroes. You put this shit 30 years ahead. Like, what are we gonna do until then?
Bella, they like, yo, your daughter got next in Africa when she 40.
Give Africa Bella.
Daughter's 40, yeah. Afro Bella. Like,
so what you got? What are we doing for the next 30? I'm gonna go to what we gotta do? We gotta chill with Treyway, with Shotty. Like, what are you talking about? What about now? What's who got 2020? Talk black to me.
Next? Who got next?
Who got 2020?
This is the battle for the future.
It's the Jubilee, nigga. They told you 1619 project. Yeah. Your curse supposed to be over, and you niggas are not prepared. What are you talking about?
Forgive me, is Jay-Z in the NFL?
Yeah, we gonna in 2050, while we still waiting for the Jay-Z NFL shit to work out and pan out, then you're gonna have next in Africa. Y'all watch too much fucking
Afro
what's that movie 2012? Y'all watching too much Black Panther something. I don't know what.
Black Mirror. Afro.
I don't know what. It was one of the movies that I saw recently that it said 2050. I get it, but stop watching TV, my niggas. Get off of Netflix and let's get into real life. Shout out to my brother Nasir in Sparta, Georgia. I gotta send you some information on Sparta, Georgia, Blue. Yeah, some people reached out to me. And they said Sparta is that town right there. They said it's where, you know, it got the potential to do something.
We're gonna work with our brother to mobilize his mayoral campaign, right? The power is getting into local politics. If we're gonna get into any politics, there's gonna be local politics, and it's gonna have a 50-year shadow for the bag. So when 2050 come around and you in Africa popping, we're gonna have shit over here cooking. You dig what I'm saying? So
shout out to my brother Nova Felder, who was just made a king in Ghana. Okay, so I'm feeling you. I could dig it. You know what I'm talking about? I could dig it, the whole Africa thing, because I'll be over there flexing my, you know, doing my 1-2 thing. But I'm talking about we got to make moves right now. They out there giving out kingship. I'm not saying that they're giving it to anybody. The brother is of royalty. So Nova Felder, his father is smiling down upon him.
Dr. Jack Felder, Rise in Power. My brother got coronated. You know, shout out to my other brother, the legend.
Oh yeah, shout out to Nova, of course. Somebody said y'all getting that LGBT.
Huh?
I don't know where that came from.
What they said?
So you getting that LGBT money?
Nah, we ain't BWA. We ain't bussies with attitudes. Nah, we good, man. They trying to Malik yogurt us. Yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah, nah, Red Pill.
Malik yogurt in the chat room. It's time to go. Nah.
Is Red Pill podcast, not Van Jones. Okay.
Yeah. This is Red Pill to God. This ain't Charlemagne, nigga. What the fuck you talking about? This ain't Van Jones, nigga. What is you saying? We ain't BWA. We not bussies with attitudes. Nigga, calm down. This ain't that. But yeah, we're gonna get back. We're gonna do another stream about local politics. Shout out to everybody coming to DC in October for the Shifters event. All right, the return of the Shifters. October what, Blue?
October 19th.
Let me talk my shit. October 19th, Washington, D.C. This is where you're going to see body politics. This is where you're going to see Voltron Foreman, Pop Darby, Derek Grace, RZA Islam, Brother Ben X, 19 Keys, Red Pill, Blue Pill, Billionaire PA. If I'm missing somebody, let me know.
It sounds like all the Wu-Tang members.
Yeah.
With special guests, of course.
Yeah, with special guests, 2020's Wu-Tang. We're gonna be forming in DC, the place where the political you know, hotbed,
yeah,
the political designation, and we're gonna talk politics. So shout out to everybody who's
in politics. Heavy solutions. I said we're going to be talking heavy solutions and heavy politics.
And heavy politics.
We have something major to announce for our birthday and the next coming days as well.
And we'll be in the UK, the United Kingdoms, for a whole week in October the 3rd to the 8th. The Red Pill, Blue Pill, KTL, UK, the UKTL invasion. Talk black to me. All right, we're going across the pond to shake things up. Shout out to all of the family across the pond, Black Ice TV. All right, shout out to my brother, Black History Books. Shout out to Nova Felder. Shout out to Mao. Everybody will be in the building. I mean, Yao. Shout out to my good brother, Yao. Yao is a legend too in Ghana. You know what I mean? Shout out to Yao for everything that you did to facilitate the coronation of our, I forgot Nova's his new royal name and whatnot, but I'll remember it. And his name, he got a new whole nother name now. So shout out to brother Yao. Shout out to Infudishi. Shout out to Professor Smalls. Shout out to everybody that's facilitating and putting that whole thing together. We will be there to make history indeed. All right?
Indeed, yeah. Like I said, shout out to the sister, Kids Who Bank.
Shout out to Kids Who Bank, legend.
Yes, indeed. All right. So I want to say thank you. I will see you back here in an hour on Tough Talk. You dig? All right. Anything you got left for them? Oh, if you're in the Atlanta area this Saturday, Natural Mystic Fair at Tassili's in the backyard, pull up for that. All right. And then in the week after that, we got the Veggie Taste. That's on the 21st. And on the 22nd in New York City is the Dr. Delbert Blair tribute. Okay. So we'll be there for the Dr. Delbert Blair tribute at Nicholas, Brooklyn. Shout out to King Simon. All right. And like I said, some more information, some announcements coming forth very soon about our birthday. Gonna have a major announcement dealing with that. All right. See y'all soon. Peace, love, and light.